Welcome back, friends, to All American Woodworks by Brad. I am Brad. So today what we're going to discuss, part of the title, is the 5 must-have tools I would say a first-time woodworker would need to start woodworking as a beginner woodworker. So let's get right into it, and I'll explain why these 5 are the ones that I choose, and in no particular order from what I find to be the most important versus not important. All of these are important to me, and we'll just discuss each one of them as we go. So I would say one of the first things that a person who wants to get into woodworking obviously needs to know would be, or would have to have, would be some sort of knowledge or drive or something to want to start woodworking. But that is not going to be 1, 2, 3, or 4, or 5. That is just going to be, you should just know. On my list, I'm just going to run through the 5 things, and starting with number 1, actually we'll count backwards. We'll start at number 5. So number 5, no reason, just we're going to go 5 through 1. I would say marking tools. So I've got a pencil here. I do a colored pencil every once in a while, depending on what I'm writing on. If I want to see a color, I usually go with green. Obviously, Sharpies. Sharpies can be your best friend. Pens. You can use a pen. Everybody likes these contractor's pencils. I have a couple of different colors, no difference in size. Regular pencil. And a mechanical pencil for finer lines. Obviously, you can use knives and other things as marking tools as well. I don't find those near as reliable as a pen or a pencil or a marker or a pen, because you can clearly see those versus using some sort of a knife to make your line. With that, I included tape measures. Doesn't matter the size, as long as it can measure what you need and you can read the lines and markings on each one. This is pretty standard and basic, so it doesn't really have like the 16 on centers and things like that, where one like this one would. Also with those, I have squares, because even these have rulers across the bottom here. You got your angles here, but you have to be able to mark as you're working. This also has a ruler on it to be able to mark as you're working, to draw your straight lines and what have you. On top of that, there's bigger squares like this one, and various others. So to me, I would say marking tools, measuring devices, all of that type of stuff will be wrapped into just one of these numbers. So we'll move on from this one into our next one. So for our next one, which would be number 4, number 2, however you want to look at it, I'm going to go with clamps. You have various size clamps from small to large, and this style clamp, which I'm not going to go through details on names of the clamps, just want to show you all the different types of clamps we've got. All the various clamps. Your Craig clamp for when you're doing pocket holes and stuff. We have Irwin from this small size. I have some that are slightly larger. More clamps that I've got various sizes of. F-style clamps, which many of you are familiar with. More, like I said, I've got larger clamps than that. And then you have your bar clamps, and you don't have to break the bank on these people. You do not have to go and spend all the money for your Bessies and, you know, all those huge name brand. 90% of mine, minus my Irwins and minus these two, which are light tongue or Lee tongue, however you want to say that, workshops. Minus those and the Irwins and this one Craig, everything else I have, all of my F-style clamps, bar clamp, all of those are Harbor Freight. You don't have to break the bank. You don't need to spend god-awful amount of money just to be a woodworker. If it works for you, there's no need to ever buy another tool. When I get to power tools, I'll explain that in further detail. And when I get into sanding, I'll explain that again there. So we covered marking tools and measuring in one category, clamps in the second category. Now we're going to move on to the third category. Third category, I'm going to go into sanding. I have various ways to sand. My top drawer here has used sandpaper back when I used to have a crappy Black & Decker that didn't last more than a couple of weeks type of sander. I still got some of the sanding papers from that. All of my used sandpapers, as you can see, I usually fold these up and I use these to hand sand if I feel like I need to sand some small pieces or get in some cracks and crevices or what have you. So I have those of several grits, all Diablo, I believe. I can see it over there. Diablo is what I'm looking at. So I have these ones are 120 and 220. That's usually my go-to when it comes to sanding. Plus some of these generic ones, if I need something really rough, these are just some 50s. And I rarely use this, but it's there for when I need it. So I originally, after my Black & Decker crapped out, you can see the DeWalt bag here, I went and bought this DeWalt orbital sander, and I don't like the dust collection that comes in that. So what I did was I went and bought a hose clamp, which is 1/4 to 1 1/4 drain pipe. So this fits on here perfectly snug, and when I hook it up to my vacuum over there, it fits into this side, and then I can tighten it on there and it works just fine. No problems. Love this setup. It feels like it can get a little cumbersome when you're sanding, but if you hold down here rather than keep your hand up here the whole time, you can kind of balance the weight between the sander and your hose hanging off. But we'll get into that when we get into sanding. So I decided I wanted to go cordless because, you know, corded is fine, but when you got a quick project or you're moving around a lot and you don't feel like moving your cords around, I went and bought me a Craftsman orbital sander that I do leave the dust port on because I use it for small projects typically. Something I just need to get through real quick, and that'll bring me to one of my other categories, why I do it so quickly. So on top of that, we have, let me move you around just a hair. You can see this here. This is the Central Machinery belt sander, disc sander combo from Harbor Freight. Like I said, you don't need to go and spend lots and lots of money. These two sanders were not that expensive, and I got them on sale. I would not pay full price because I don't think that you need to have the best of the best to call yourself a woodworker, or to think that the better the tool, the more successful you're going to be. You're going to be successful based on your own merit, not the tools you're using. Granted, these tools make life easier, make your woodworking process a lot easier in most cases. However, if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you like what you have, keep it. There's no need to upgrade. You see all these other woodworking channels or woodworking shows or whatever you're watching, and they say you gotta have this, you have to have that. This is the best of the best. Go buy the Bosch, go buy this, go buy that. You don't need those things. Those are wants, they're not needs. If you want those, by all means go get those. But as you can see, so far, I've got Harbor Freight mixed in all of my gear, and nothing has failed me yet. So now we're done with our sanding aspect, our sanding portion. we're going to move on to category number 4. Okay, now we're into category number 4, power tools. You always want to have at least 2 types of drills, one for drilling your holes, one for screwing in the screws. That's usually the rule. Again, you don't have to have the best of the best. This DeWalt, like I said, when I buy DeWalt tools, they have to be on sale. I'm not paying full price for a drill that my Porter cable could do 95% of what this does, minus the hammer part of it. This does all the rest. These are both workhorses. These both have been, this has been with me the longest of all my drills, of course, but this one is second. And I don't have any issues with these. I always have 2 batteries going at one time, so I have, you know, using this one, charging the other one, using this one, charging the other one. So these are always a good thing to have. On top of that, I have Central Pneumatic nail gun from, you guessed it, Harbor Freight. This thing has been with me for countless years. This thing has never once failed me. It has jammed up here, but that's any nail gun. Any nail gun will jam every once in a while. Other than jamming, this thing has never given me a problem. As long as I oil it like you're supposed to, keep it clean, use it correctly, use it wisely, this thing will outlast most nail guns on the market. And it's a Harbor Freight nail gun. This thing is always stored in the original box I bought it in, just for dust reasons, bugs, spiders, cobwebs, just to keep this thing clean. After that, we have the Ryobi, which was bought on sale as well. Not that these are too terribly expensive, these are actually kind of affordable, but I wanted something that was cordless, no hose, no air, no nothing, just battery operated. This thing is a workhorse in itself. This thing has got me through so many projects. I want to go up a step further. We can go into a pass load. This is a finish nailer. However, you can get tiny nails just like you can in the Ryobi, just like you can in the Harbor Freight. So if you want to go the extra mile and spend some money, get yourself a pass load. I got this back when I was doing a lot of maintenance work. When I was a chief engineer, when I could afford it, I bought it. But that's the only time I'll ever buy one of these. This thing is awesome. This thing has been through many cartridges of gas, many charges of battery, has shot through many nails. This thing has never jammed on me, not one time. But due to how expensive it is, I try not to use this one that often. So, like I said, when you're done, you put them back in their case. Back in its case, out of sight, out of mind. Speaking of air, speaking of expense, this is all I use. A pancake air compressor. I can't tell you how long I've had this. I could tell you that my oldest daughter is almost 14 and this thing is probably just as old as her, if not even a little bit older. The last house my wife and I bought, this is one of my first purchases. And this thing has never failed me. And there's no need for those big, huge, stand in the corner air compressors when doing little woodworking projects. This thing can handle anything that I need it to do. Plus I've got the Ryobi. Plus I've got the pass load if I need to. No need to upgrade to something huge and ginormous that just takes up a lot of room and it's loud. This thing is quiet and it does exactly what I need it to do. So no need to upgrade. Speaking of upgrades, let's see. We have one more thing I'm going to throw into the mix with power tools. We'll save that for last. We'll have a bonus. We've got our 5 and then we'll have a bonus. The bonus is the most important. That's why it's going to be a bonus. That one I would classify more than my number 1. So it's going to be our bonus. So we're going to move into our number 5, which is going to be bigger power tools. Okay, now when I say bigger power tools, I don't mean we're going to go straight to the big power tools. What I'm going to show you is from the basics and work our way up. So, to get started as a beginner woodworker, I'm not sure if any of you have ever seen one of these. This is called a miter box. You've got your straight 90s going straight across. You've got some 22.5 or 22.5. You got 45s. Then you even got your 45s over here at a different angle. And your saw. I have had this thing longer than I've had my circular saw, which also is a Craftsman. Love this thing. Very loud. Creates a lot of dust, but I love this thing. So the miter saw is my oldest tool. Before I had an actual miter saw, an electric corded miter saw. I had this even before this, but it's clean, looks nice because I take care of my stuff. I know woodworkers like to keep their stuff dirty because they don't have time to clean it. However, I might have a little anal retentiveness when it comes to cleanliness of my tools. A clean shop is a productive shop. On top of the 2 miter saws and the skill saw, I have probably my favorite Yeah, I'd say this is probably my favorite cutting tool. It's a variable speed Black & Decker with the controls for straight to as curvy of a line you want to get to. And I don't know. This thing just is, I don't know, it's got me through a lot of projects. I have worked very hard at learning how to cut straight with one of these. I used to be, you know, all over the place. I used to not keep my blade straight and it would kind of tilt. But I've learned how to manage keeping the plate flat on any surface. And I have learned to cut, actually 90% of these walls were cut with this. I did not get the skill saw out. I did not use the table saw, which is my biggest power tool. You guys have seen that in a previous video, but I'll get that cleaned off and show you. I didn't use this for these, or I didn't use the miter saw for these either, because these are, I want to say, between 10 and 12 inches, some will vary in size. And this one will only cut up to like an 8. So I use this for all of these. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on all the specs on this, but it's just my favorite saw, my favorite cutting tool, and I wouldn't trade this for anything. I've had some other ones that weren't so great. I've never gotten into the corded, or cordless, sorry, the battery operated ones. I just love this saw. I had a scroll saw that I did not like. No matter what I did with that scroll saw, I did not like. I've got the band saw over there that I don't use, which is the reason why it's not going to be here much longer. I just don't use it. So I would say this is my favorite saw. The table saw, let me get it cleaned off and show you that here in just a second. So my table saw is a skill saw. I actually ordered this on Amazon several years ago. It was actually cheaper than buying it in the store, and all I did was build this little stand for it just so I could wheel it around. And then I built this off-feed table on the back side of it that just has a little piece of wood there that I've demonstrated before that acts as just a kickstand. So next to my jigsaw, this is probably my second favorite saw to use. I built my own custom gosh darn it, sled, sorry. Built my own custom sled down here at the bottom. I keep all my tools down at the bottom, and this thing is a workhorse. It's got me through a lot of wood projects as well. You'll get to see a lot of this stuff in action, so let me get you onto, sorry for that jostling. Let me get you onto bonus time. We've got a bonus that I find the most important tool any woodworker should have. Let's get you turned around to the work table and I'll show you. Here she is in all her glory. The all-important stool. No, I'm just kidding. This is not bonus material. Let me move this out of the way, get you scooted up a little bit, and I will show you the most important. Get you turned up, bring in. Okay, so, hi, I'm right here. The most important to me when it comes to woodworking is safety. Of course, these are disposable rubber, latex, whatever, gloves. These protect your hands from stains, not necessarily cuts or splinters or anything like that, but from staining and painting, messing with chemicals, glues, things of that nature. Not really a safety problem, it just makes it easier to clean up your hands and everything when you're done working. So that's in here. The all-important goggles. Even though I wear glasses, I still think that a good pair of goggles can protect your eyes from literally anything that you wouldn't think would happen. If you don't know what could happen, I'm sure you can find some videos on YouTube on workshop mishaps or near-death experiences or something along those lines with woodworking. Good pair of ear protection. These actually are my hunting ear protection, and I use them in the shop. So I protect my ears at all costs. I actually wear those exact same ones when I'm mowing my lawn because I protect my ears even mowing the lawn. The most important safety precaution you could take would be a dust mask. I use one of these because it makes me feel like a Mortal Kombat fighter. Not really, but it does protect your lungs because let's get you turned up to me. So, lungs are the most important safety practice you should be practicing while in your workshop. You can have almost any kind of dust filtration, dust whatever, in your shop, but you got real small particles that are still floating around. And what most people don't know is when you turn off your machine, turn off your dust collection, turn off anything that you are working on, even up to 30 minutes later, there are still fine particles in the air just floating around. So it's a very wise choice to get yourself a really good dust mask. Like this one, for instance, has filters here on the outside, and it has 2 or 3 different layers of filters on the inside. And guess where this came from? Harbor Freight. Like I said, you don't need to go and spend $1 million to have a good workshop. You make your workshop work for you. You don't work for your workshop. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this 5 must-have tools for a beginner workshop kind of run through of mine. I would say if I had to pick one of these as the most important one in my handbook all the time, that would be my PPE, personal protective equipment. Very important. All the rest of those in any order, 1 through 5, 5 through 1, 1 through 5, 2, 4, however you want to put it in order. You saw what I've got. I don't have the best of the best. I'm not going to upgrade any of this stuff anytime soon. I'm letting this work for me. This has not failed me. This stuff has been tried and true for me and has yet to fail me. If you do want to upgrade, go to Grossman Woodwork and DIY. I may have just chopped that up a little bit, but he does have, I don't know if the discount is still going on, but there was a DeWalt saw, miter saw, that he had a little sale price thing on. I believe it was from Lowe's, and it's like $6.50, dropped down to like $3.99 or something along those lines. Go check out his channel and grab that thing up. Plus it gives him a kickback on his channel. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my little tour of tools in my shop and what works for me. And remember, you don't have to spend a lot of money to do great things. Just create something.